Hi everybody, welcome back to CagedRockDesigns. I am so sorry that I've been gone for so long. It's been a long few months. I'm not going to get into like really detailed details because I don't want to be too long in this intro. But I will say that in November, I started having some health issues. I do suffer from hypothyroidism, which hasn't really caused me a lot of problems until things started to happen up here. The doctor started to change. I don't know where my doctor is. He's been gone for quite a while. He comes back and he goes, and there's just been an exchange of doctors over the last 6 months. And every time I see a different one of them, they don't agree on my dosage. So they started moving the dosages up. Sometimes the next doctor would move it down. And it got to the point where I was going from one to the other, and it just caused total physical havoc, which started in November. Havoc to the point where, like, I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't think of anything but what was happening to me physically. So the video stopped. The creativity stopped. I have November's bargain bead box, December's bargain bead box, still sitting unopened. I haven't even looked at them. So it took a couple months to iron everything out. I finally found a doctor that's willing to work with me, and a pharmacist actually, who works with me very closely on the dosages, where my blood work is sitting, and everything's kind of stopped. Everything's calmed down. I'm on a dosage that seems to be working. I'm sitting where I'm supposed to be. The physical ailments are still kind of present, but it seems to be taking a long time to just calm down. It takes months, especially for a hormonal situation, I find, for everything to calm down. So that's why I've been gone for the last few months. I decided I had to stop. I missed you guys a lot, but I really had to stop and take care of my health. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be coming back. I feel really good. I've even moved my creative desk up into another area of the house, which I will show you what it looks like. This is the office, and now where I actually create, do the actual creations. My recording is still in my studio, as you can see back here. I'm still in the same area. There has been some changes made because I had to move my desk upstairs. But anyway, I find that I'm very creative. I'm more comfortable being up there where I'm with Dee and sometimes family or whatever. I can stop what I'm doing, take a break, go do what I have to do, come back to it. It just seems like a more comfortable and creative area for me. I'm more creative when I'm there. So that's changed a little bit. I did get January's bargain bead box done. She's beautiful. I'm still in love with all the pieces that they always send. I do hope you enjoy this video. A lot of the pieces are very simple, so I didn't do a lot of mini tutorials. I did a couple of mini tutorials for a couple of the pieces I think you might need a little more guidance on, but most of the pieces were done very, very simply. I think you're gonna love them. I love them. So without further ado, let's get into this video. For my first piece, I use a 3mm stainless steel Rollo chain. And that's number 1 on your list. Number 7 is the 18 by 25mm square toggle clasp I use to finish it off. Number 9 on your list is the 10mm pressed glass beads. That's these ones here. Number 11 on your list is the 12mm stainless steel crescent moon links, and that'll be these ones here. Number 12 on your list is the 8mm druzy agates. That's these beautiful stones right here. 13 on your list is the 8x6mm rondel beads. That'd be these ones here, and I've used the different colors because they had dark blue, a clear, a matte blue, green. So I just used multicolors of these ones in my design. For the main focal of this piece, number 15 is the 22mm Forest Moon pewter plated pendant. So this one here. Then 17 on your list was the labradorite chip beads. And I had used them all through here and there. 18 on your list was a 6mm check pressed glass star bead. So that's these little guys here. And number 10 on your list, since I seem to have forgotten to put that in there, was the 5mm star spacer beads. I really like these star spacer beads. They look great on the ends of the memory wire that I was using. They look beautiful. Really like the way that they turned out. So as you can see here, I used memory wire. Now you know I like to use memory wire in a lot of my pieces. So what I did was I took a 3-inch piece of memory wire and I used 7 of them in my piece. What I like to use to bend or do anything with my memory wire is these great big pliers here. These are huge, very sturdy, and even as sturdy as they are, you can see that bending with the memory wire has already pulled this bottom one this way a little bit. You can kind of see it. So honestly, memory wire is tough. But anyway, so as you can see on these pliers, it has measurements here. So this is 5mm 6, 7, 8mm, and then there's 4, 3, and 2. And what I did was I used 2mm area and I made 1 loop. Now memory wire can be really tough to work with, but just take your time and you just press it around, pull it around ever so slowly, and sometimes that happens. It'll pop out of there. And the reason you need a fairly good pair of pliers is because this memory wire is absolutely tough. It's one of the toughest wires I've ever used. So basically I closed that loop as best I could. Now because you can see, I don't know if you can see that, you can see the loop is not completely closed on the one side, and I like them to be completely closed. And then what I do is I take my flat nose pliers and I just press it very gently closed. There, and now it's closed up. Then you put whatever beads you'd like to put on there, on this, and do it 7 times. Now you can have them scattered around or you can have them more uniform, like what I did. I did mine more uniform, you know, so basically this set here is the same, this set here is the same, and then this set here is the same. This one was the only one that I did a little bit different because this is the area I wanted your attention to come to, basically. So this is the focal area right here of my piece. So that's how you do these. And you can do all of them first. So do your memory wire pieces first, right? And then you can lay it out however you want to do it. So basically I joined these ones here, these 4 here, with jump rings. And then I added my little links here, my little half moon links with, and all of these are put together with jump rings. So you can use any size jump rings you want. I used 4mm jump rings to put everything together. And a lot of the times I'll double them up. So you can see, as you can see here, I doubled up the jump rings to add this link here and to add this link to these 2 pieces here, and then to add my chain. Now the chain that I added, this is an 1.5 inches on either side, so 1.5 inches chain. You can cut the 1.5 inches, just make sure there's the same amount of links on either side, and then just brought them together with jump rings here. Basically these 2 pieces are coming along the back. I left this one piece in the front and then added my jump rings to that, and then added the chain to the back of the whole set. But I think it looks nice when it's doubled up like this. It also brings strength to the piece. These are fairly good jump rings, but I mean, they are jump rings. So at least if you use 2 on all the sides, this is going to be a little more sturdy, and it looks cool. I mean, I like the look. This chain here is 4.5 inches in length. Again, everything is put together with jump rings, and then just measured what I needed for the roller chain for the rest of the chain. So you can have it as long or as short as you want. The reason I added this in here was just to fill this all up. This was a big empty space here when I actually wore it, so I realized I needed to put something, and I didn't want to put any more beads because honestly there's a lot going on this piece. This is basically where I wanted my focal point to be, so this just adds a finishing touch, kind of encases the whole focal area that I was trying to create. And it just looks really nice. It just finishes off the whole piece, and it's very dainty and simple. It is a fairly big piece, but it's not a bulky piece. I find it nice. It's not heavy. It takes up a large area, but it's not bulky and full. It's more dainty. So it takes up a lot of area, but it is dainty to wear. And I really like the way that it turned out. One of my absolute favorite pieces. You know I love bracelets. If you've been watching my channel long enough, you know that I make a lot of bracelets. I love bracelets. But this piece worked out beautiful, and it really looks different. Like, it's a very different looking piece. So I used memory wire, and a lot of it. So what I did was I cut 4 pieces of memory wire, and I measured my, I just put the memory wire around my wrist where I thought I would like it to sit, because this does open. But because it's made up of 4 pieces of memory wire, it is a very solid piece. So you just have to make it to fit your wrist. It doesn't have to be bigger or smaller, for like for a toggle clasp or anything. It'll honestly stay on. And basically what I did was I took the 11 by 5 millimeter starburst glass cylinder beads, and I put my first one on there. Now you got to go very gentle because this is a glass bead. It will break. That's why I only used 4 pieces of the memory wire. I mean, there's lots of room in there still for more, but you don't want to have these beads under too much strain and too much pressure. So they still do move around a little bit. So what I did was I made all the loops at the end. I pushed on my first cylinder bead. This is number 4 on your list, by the way. An absolutely gorgeous bead. I love these. I think they're so pretty. And then I just started adding beads onto the empty space here. 8 millimeter frosted pressed glass beads. So that's these ones here. These are the star beads here. Number 6 on your list. The 5 millimeter star spacer beads. So that one there. And that is 10 on your list. The 4 millimeter labradorite faceted bead. That is this one here. Number 16 on your list. And then I used the 6 millimeter English cut crystal beads. This number 8 on your list. And at the time of making this bracelet, I did use one of the 6 millimeter check pressed glass beads, and this is number 18 on your list. I used one that I had left. I just put it on there. And then between each cluster of beads, which I kind of spaced out a little bit, as you can see, I spaced them out a little bit, and then slowly pressed on my next 11.5 starburst glass cylinder bead, very gently, being sure that it was not super, super tight. As you can see, these beads do still move around slightly. You do want a little bit of movement or you will break these. You will break these, so you got to be really careful. You could use different wire if you wanted. I just like memory wire because it keeps the shape like a bangle, which is something I love. I love the bangle bracelets. But honestly, I think it turned out really unique. And all I did was I looped everything together at the end. And as you can see, some of the loops here are not exactly the same size, and I did it on purpose. I just thought it looked really nice. Something a little more unique, you know. And at the end, I put one of the 15.5 by 20 millimeter Moonstar links just to finish it off. And you could hang a little bead from here if you wanted, or even if you're more comfortable, use a use a jump ring and attach a chain if you wanted to the other side. But honestly, with this amount of memory wire, the 4 pieces, like I said before, this is a very solid piece. Very solid piece. It will not go anywhere. It's pretty good and tight on my wrist. But I mean, it's so unique, and I don't know. I love these. I think they're so pretty. And I forgot to say, 2 jump rings to attach the link. Just gives it a little, it's nice to, you know, it's a nice look, the 2 jump rings, and it brings a little more stability to make sure your link doesn't go anywhere. For this next earring set, the 23mm moon phase coin beads, very pretty. I had actually originally thought about making a bracelet with these, but I mean, I'd already made a couple of bracelets. I thought, you know, you always need a few earrings to go with everything. So the earrings it was, and they're not very heavy, so they're not going to make a real heavy earring. So these are number 3 on your list, and again, the 23mm moon phase coin beads. As you can see, I just added my own ear wires. I didn't even use jump rings. I just added the ear wires to the small hole at the top and left the big hole at the bottom. So this is an 1.5 inch memory wire. I cut 4 of these, and then 2 pieces that were just slightly smaller by maybe 1/8 of an inch. Not very much smaller, because even just cutting off 1/8 of an inch makes a big difference when you're talking about the size of these pieces. And again, I did the same exact thing with my pliers. So on the one side, I used my bigger pliers, so these ones again, at the 2mm mark, and I made a little loop on the one side. I added the beads that I chose to add here. And then for the other side, the finishing side, as you can see, these ends are quite a bit smaller than what the loop size is. All I did was I took my flat nose pliers and I brought it to the end like that, and I just bent it around. So I just bent it around like this. Now again, you need a really good strong pair of pliers to bend around the memory wire, because it is very, very, very stiff. Okay, and then I just pressed it in like that. When I was done, kind of played with it a little, and there, and that's what the loop should look like when it's done. So as you can see, I used some of the 5mm star spacer beads on either side, here and here and here and here, and one at the top of here. Like I said, these look really good with the memory wire, just to kind of finish it off a little bit. The 8mm druzy agate, one of those, that's 12 on your list. The star spacer bead is 10 on your list. The 8x6mm rondel beads, so these ones here, and just a scatter of different colors that they had in there, number 13 on your list. And the 6mm check pressed glass bead, and that would be this one here. So little star beads, clear, kind of a bluish color, very pretty. And then took 2 of the jump rings, added it to, and put everything together, and added it to the loop at the bottom. And that's where I left it. Mine are a little dirty, I'm sorry. And they're not heavy, like I said before. These are very light. They look beautiful. And you can even dangle some teardrop beads if you wanted on the bottom of these, but I like the way they turned out. And for my next bracelet, yes, I used more memory wire. I used the 7.5mm star bead caps. That's these ones here. These are number 2 on your list, as you can see there. Number 2 on your list. On top of the 10mm pressed glass beads. That is number 9 on your list. So bead caps on each one. I used the 8mm frosted pressed glass beads. That's these ones here, the little star beads here. And those are number 6 on your list. The 5mm star spacer beads, yes, use those again. Very beautiful, scattered here and there along the piece. That is number 10 in your list. 8x6mm rondo beads, number 13 on your list, and that's these ones here. And I used all the clear ones this time for this particular piece. The labradorite chip beads. So this is what I had left for chip beads. So I thought I'll just fill up the space, you know, make it a little bit unique. So I filled it up with the labradorite chip beads, number 17 on your list, and 6mm check pressed glass beads. That'd be these ones here, right there. And I love the cool tone blue look of this bracelet. And then I used the Rolo chain, about a 3-inch piece, just to bring it all together. Now the way that I measure this chain is by putting the bracelet on first, and you want to have it on the largest part of your hand. So that for me would be about there, you know, because you want to get it around your wrist. Your wrist is smaller, so you want to get it around your hand. So that's how I measure when I'm going to put a chain on a bangle, like a chain on a memory wire, because this is memory wire. So that's how I measure the chain, because you want it to be able to go over this part of your wrist. And that's what it looks like. And again, some jump rings. These are a little bit smaller. These are 3mm jump rings. And I use 2 again on either side. Something very, very nice to wear in the winter. Okay, so for this bracelet, I have a very, very short little mini tutorial because this is so easy, you guys. This is such an easy bracelet to make. Trust me, you're gonna love it. So as you can see in the first clip here, I have taken 2 of the Moonstar link beads, and I have started sewing everything together. So the 5mm star spacer bead, 8mm frosted pressed glass beads, that's the stars, the rondelle is in there, and then the frosted bead and the spacer bead, the star spacer bead. And then you just sew that together. Just go back and forth once. You don't want to go over it, you don't want to do that too much, because we've got another set of beads to put on top. So as you come around with your needle, you go through the star bead, and then you add 11/0 seed bead, you add the check glass bead, the 6mm check glass bead, 1 11/0 seed bead, and then you go through that rondelle from the original row, and then you add another 11/0, the check glass bead, and 11/0, and then you go through the star bead, and then you just go around one more time and then tie it off. And you do that twice because there's 2 different spots here. Okay, so you do that once, and then you take this piece and you do it, and you take and you do it again. Okay, so now you've got these 3 pieces plus your beads inside, and all you do is just add the 12mm crescent moon round links, so 1 on either side with a jump ring, and then your toggle clasp with a jump ring on the one side, and then on the other side you just add as many jump rings as you need for it to fit your wrist. This is the side that you want to link up with more of your jump rings, because this piece here has to close in on itself. Okay, so you want it to be able to do that. So you want this area here to be longer, not this side of the toggle clasp, but this side. And that's what it looks like. Very dainty, beautiful. I wanted to use the green in this with the rondelles. I have lots of blue pieces. I wanted to use some of the green, and it looked really nice. It turned out really nice. So for this piece, it's basically put together the same as the bracelet I just showed you. As you can see here, I just threaded together 11-0 seed bead, the star bead, the druzy, the chip beads, the druzy, and the star bead, and one 11-0 seed bead. And basically all I did was take my thread, wrapped it around there a couple of times, link in each side of the 15.5 by 20 moon star links, and you can have them facing any which way you want to. And I did that 4 times, so 2 here and 2 here. And as you're going, you will sew it together. Now for this piece here, so for my focal, I wanted to use the 38 by 30 millimeter antique silver brass pendant with a labradorite oval. So that's that one there. Looks really pretty. It's a pewter color, and I love pewter color. I think it's gorgeous. And I'm going to show you basically a close-up of how I put this together. It's very simple, you guys, and again, these are very simple pieces. As you can see in the clip, I used a 11-0 seed bead, the star spacer bead, the druzy, 1 chip bead, 2 of the 11-0 seed beads. Then I put this piece on before I continued. And then on the other side, you can see I put 2 11-0 seed beads, a chip bead, the druzy, star bead, and an 11-0 seed bead. And basically I ran back and forth a couple of times just to strengthen it up, and then just tied it off in here. Like, this is very, very simple piece. When I finished, I didn't have any of the toggle clasps left from this box. So all I did was I used my jump rings, put a jump ring on the end, and then added the amount of solo chain that I wanted. I measured myself, and then put a lobster claw on the other side. And I put the lobster claw down here. Now, it actually looks really nice. It's definitely a different piece. The lobster claws, they're not ugly. I think they're very pretty. Love the way it turned out. So by the time I got to this point, I didn't have a lot of Rolo chain left. This was all I had left, so I just cut it in half. I think this Rolo chain is approximately 3 inches long, maybe a little bit shorter. You can do it as long as short as you want. I wanted the chain to be sitting inside of the memory wire earrings that I had made here. Now I'm going to show you how to do these, but I'm going to do it in a short. I've seen YouTube, a lot of people are getting big on making the shorts, so I am going to try to do one for you. I'll show you how to make these. Honestly, guys, very simple, very, very simple to make these, and they turned out beautiful. And I really like the silver tone. I like the openness of the earring. I like that they're light, they're not heavy on your ears, and they've just got that really open, dainty look to them. They're very long, so if you have long hair, even if you have short hair, I mean, these look absolutely gorgeous. So I will show you how to do this on a short, but basically I used what I had left of the Rolo chain, and I just started playing with my memory wire, and this is what happened. I think it looks really, really beautiful. And just added my own ear wire and jump rings to put everything together, and I think they turned out absolutely stunning. Just a nice idea to do something with chain. If you have extra chain, these turned out really pretty. Anyway, look for the short. I will have that hopefully up in the next couple of days. I'll be working on that, and you can see a simple tutorial of how I did these. So this is a set of earrings that I wasn't sure that was even going to work out. They actually look really good. I like the way that they turned out, and I will be wearing ones that I make for myself. So these are a set of earrings that matches a piece that I'm going to show you after this. I'm going to show you the earrings first. Basically what I did, all I had left was the 6mm English cut beads. So I used those. And I just took thread and started threading everything together. I used 6 11-0 seed beads on the top, put the 6mm English cut bead in there. This is 8 on your list. And then went down one side, added 1 11-0 seed bead here, and added a 2 bead. 1 2 bead. Then I added the star bead caps, 7.5mm bead caps, number 2 on your list, a druzy, a bead cap, and then 1 11-0 seed bead on the bottom. Missed the seed bead on the way back up with my needle, went through, and then added a second tubular bead to to the earring, and then went through the 11/0 seed bead, the English cut bead, and the 6 beads, and then went down again once or twice, and then tied off in here. And then added my ear wire to this piece after. You don't need a jump ring for that. As you can see, I just added it to the beads. I don't remember using 2 beads in earrings like this, but these really turned out nice. They're very dainty, beautiful. They're not heavy on the earring. They're not heavy on your ear, which is something I really appreciate on my ears, but they look really stunning. They turned out nice. Now I'm going to show you the pendant necklace that these go with. So I wasn't even sure if I wanted to make this piece. I had it in mind, but I thought I had it in mind and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this. So I started doing it. I started putting it together, and I really was thinking about taking it apart. I actually at one point did take it apart and I started putting it together again. So I thought I'm just going to finish it and see what it looks like. And if you can see, I'll put up a photo of it on the stand again. It actually looks really nice. It's very, very unique. It's a very different piece. And myself, I always think, you know, if I'm willing to wear a piece out, then it's worth putting up and showing you guys. And this is something I would wear. I've got a really long piece of thread. I think my thread was almost 4 feet long when I started this. And around the middle, I started adding these beads. So what I did was I added one of the English cut beads, a 6mm, a 2 bead. I will put the 2 beads and where I got them in the description area below. I think I got them on Amazon. And there's a couple of different colors that you can get. These were kind of a pewter color, so I thought they'd go really good with this set. The bead caps, the druzy, the bead cap, and 11/0 seed bead. I went back up through everything, the 2 bead and the English cut bead. Then added an 11/0 seed bead, another English cut, 11/0 seed bead, English cut, and then back down again with a noodle bead or 2 bead, a 4mm labradorite faceted bead, which is number 16 on your list, another 2 bead, bead cap, druzy bead cap, with an 11/0 seed bead at the end, and then back up all of that again through both of the 2 beads. Then I went through the 11/0 seed bead and then just started going across, as you can see. As you can see here, we'll get a close-up of here. Then just started going across, coming back up here using the English cut, 11/0, English cut, and 11/0. And then for this sequence here, I just added 3 of the 2 beads. With whatever bead you choose to put inside here, it doesn't matter. I just like to use the druzies at the end with the bead caps, and then back over again, same sequence, then with two beads, and then your English cut, and then 1 2 bead, and then 3 English cut with a bead cap at the end, and then 1 2 bead. And then to finish off the end here, I used a bead cap, English cut, bead cap, 11/0, and then did that 3 times. Added 6 11/0s, then went back down all the way through all these beads. And when I got to here, I added 1 11/0 seed bead. So bypass this 11/0 seed bead that's already on there and add 1 extra one. Then go through all your sequence here. All the sequence here, through the 11/0 seed bead, add 1 11/0 seed bead at each of the 2 bead junctures here, okay? And then through everything, seed bead added, through everything, seed bead added, and then did the exact same thing on the other side. Added the 11/0 seed bead after I added my last 3 faceted beads, or English cut beads, the 2 bead, 1 11/0 seed bead, bead cap, English cut, bead cap, 11/0. And then did the exact same thing, and you can pause this so you can see. And then 6 11/0 seed beads, turned around, and went back down again. And all I did was go back down one more time, and then I just started tying off. I did a loop here and went, and then I did a loop there and went, and then I just tied off in here and cut it off. And then I used a lobster clasp on one side, and then used my own chain because by this time I didn't have any more chain left. So this one is just a little bit smaller, more dainty of a chain. This is a stainless steel chain, so it won't change color either. And then just measured how long I wanted it, and then another lobster claw on this other side with my own jump rings. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope the mini tutorials were fairly easy to follow along. Like I said in the intro, a lot of these pieces were done very simple to follow, and my furnace is turning on again. Don't forget to hit that like button, and if you want to, subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell as well. You will be notified of upcoming videos. Yes, I will be making more. All right, you guys have a great day, and I would love to see you back here for my next one. Bye.